Well, good Wednesday and happy April Fool's Day, everyone. It's Weather for Weather Geeks time. We're not going to play any practical jokes on you in this video. Just detailed weather information for Northeast Ohio and Western PA. And well, speaking of detailed weather information, if you're a little more of a reader, you can check out my weather blog post from this morning at ericwfmj.com. Got all sorts of charts and graphs here and information on what happened in March, what's going to happen over the next few days in terms of the rain, the snow, possible severe weather, etc., etc. Also a preview of April as a whole, all included in this blog from this morning. All sorts of great information for you right there at ericwfmj.com. All right, as I record this at about 2:20 p.m., it's pretty nice outside. I actually turned on the air conditioning in my car on the way in. You might think I'm crazy, but my car was sitting in the sun. I've got a black car, and the sun is strong at this time of the year, so even with an air temperature of 49, 50 degrees, it felt a lot warmer than that in my car as I came into work today. So, the sun can do a lot of nice things here in late March and early April. 49 degrees, the 2 o'clock temperature at the airport, 51 in Newcastle, and 51 degrees over in Ravenna this afternoon. We do have this kind of a mixed bag of clouds and sun out there. A little disturbance cruising through now. This is going to get out of our way and allow for all of these clear skies to push in for tonight. So tonight's going to be a pleasant night, not as cold as last night, and mostly clear as well. Out across the middle of the country, we're gearing up for another busy severe weather afternoon, possibly across the middle of the country. Here's the Storm Prediction Center outlook for the rest of the day today. The yellow areas are the highest risk. Those are the areas that have the highest risk of hail and damaging winds, isolated tornadoes. 2 areas here from Kansas up to southern Minnesota. Second area from about Dallas up through about Springfield, Missouri. So they'll be keeping an eye out for severe weather in those zones this afternoon. And the circled area, what we call a mesoscale convective discussion, that's an area that is most likely to see the first severe thunderstorm watch of the afternoon. Today, we don't have to worry about that here. Temperatures across the country, look at the warmth building. You can kind of pick out the pattern across the country. There's a trough in the west for a change, a ridge over the plain states, and then a little bit of frothiness in the northeast where it is chilly outside. But pushing 80 all the way up into southeastern South Dakota this afternoon. So that's what's going on now. I mentioned tonight's going to be pretty quiet overnight. Let's talk about tomorrow. All right, I'm going to bring up the latest NAM model for tomorrow. Now, I think tomorrow is going to be a cloudier day than today, but as we've been talking about, temperatures will have no trouble rising quickly tomorrow in the wake of a strong warm front. Now, what about getting wet tomorrow? Here's the simulated radar in the NAM at 10 a.m. It would suggest there might be a quick shower. Some of this is probably overdone. But by early afternoon, I can't rule out there's a stray shower. It's probably a 30% chance kind of thing for early to mid-afternoon on our Thursday. Here's the simulated radar at 2 p.m. Again, the bark probably a little worse than the bite here. It's a 30, maybe 40% chance of seeing a passing shower or two first half of the afternoon. A lot of high school students especially have outdoor practices at this time of the year. So the question is, are they going to get wet after school? Here's 4 p.m. There's not much going on. There might be a shower. It's not going to be anything all that heavy, I don't think. And it's certainly going to be windy. And it's going to be warm as well. Here's 6 p.m. tomorrow. Chances starting to increase a little bit for some shower activity around dinner time. And then 8 p.m. I think things are becoming more and more active by sunset and shortly thereafter. But I mentioned those temperatures tomorrow. Off to the races. Let's talk about those for just a second. Here's an approximation of the highs tomorrow on the NAM. Now, this is probably underdone because it's overdoing the precipitation. The NAM would suggest 60 or so tomorrow. I think we're actually closer to 70 tomorrow afternoon. GFS, just out of curiosity, let's see what it's advertising. Middle and upper 50s. I think that's wrong. I think there will be some upper 60s to around 70 tomorrow afternoon. Not everyone's going to hit 70, but everyone's going to fall somewhere in that 65 to 70 zone for tomorrow afternoon. Now, there is a severe weather risk across the country again tomorrow, and it will be farther east than today. Here's tomorrow's outlook, according to the Storm Prediction Center. Notice the slight risk in yellow here from southern Missouri up through the lower Ohio River Valley, with a marginal risk, which is kind of a lower end risk, up to about I-71. And over in eastern Ohio and western PA, we're just in the general thunderstorm risk area. If you read my blog from this morning, I kind of outlined why severe weather is not that likely here, because the best, what we call dynamics with this, will be getting in tomorrow night, after the sun sets, after the best heating of the day. there's just not going to be a lot of instability. One of the things we like to look at when we're talking about instability, or the ability for air to rise high in the atmosphere. The higher the air rises, the more clouds and precipitation it is capable of forming. One of the things we like to look at is CAPE, convective available potential energy. Fancy meteorological term, but on this map, just look for the bright colors. Notice locally, there's not much CAPE at all. And so the atmosphere is fairly stable. This is mid-afternoon tomorrow. It does get more and more unstable, though, as you head towards the lower Ohio River Valley, and very unstable back here across Texas and Oklahoma. By tomorrow evening, as the precipitation chances increase, the CAPE does increase slightly, but it's still not very high. We're talking, a couple hundred joules of CAPE, and that's enough to cause thunder in some spots, but severe thunderstorms, just not all that likely. But I will say this as a little bit of a caveat. If there is a strong shower or a thunderstorm manages to get going, I can't rule out that it brings down some pretty hefty winds. These are the wind speeds tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. up at 5,000 feet. Wind up there at 5,000 feet is going to be blowing at 70, 72, 73 miles per hour over our heads. And thunderstorms can pull down some of that wind energy from the 5,000 foot level, and even higher, down to the ground. So while I'm not looking for much thunderstorm activity, there could be some, and I'm not looking for a lot of hail, I can't totally rule out that there's a damaging wind gust if a storm manages to get kind of high. Will the storms be able to build high enough? That's the question, and it's not looking real likely. But just a little caveat there that there's going to be a lot of wind energy up there, and anything that tries to get a little frisky could make for some interesting times. All right, we have quite a bit of rain heading our way for tomorrow night, and at times on Friday. Let me bring up the GFS model here, and take us out through the day on Friday. All right, that's what we want. Bring up the isobars as well. Now, Friday is going to be, I think, in terms of rain. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this. It's not going to rain the entire day Friday. Let's skip ahead to Friday morning, which is right here, the 3rd. It's not going to rain the entire day Friday. There might be a lull. It just depends on where this front decides to stall. Here's the setup on Friday. Low pressure up here, cold front stalling through here as an area of low pressure forms out towards Arkansas and Missouri. So as this low forms, it's going to hold up the progress of this front, and this low is going to come north and east. That means the front is going to be sluggish to make south and eastward progress, and as that wave of low pressure comes northeast, it's going to bring more rain. So again, there might be a lull morning into midday on Friday. Here's 2 p.m. Notice there's not much going on, but there's another wave of rain approaching from the south and west. This will probably get in then as we go into Friday afternoon late and into Friday evening. So Thursday night soggy, could see a break at some point Friday, especially mid to late morning, and then we get into another round of rain Friday late afternoon into the evening. And then, this is when things get interesting. As our low starts intensifying out here, it's going to start pulling in the cold air from the north. And yeah, I think we're going to see snow overnight Friday night into Saturday morning. Now this is going to be real wet snow, and with marginal temperatures. I think it'll be mostly sticking on non-paved surfaces, so grass and car tops and that sort of thing. But I'll tell you, some places are going to wake up Saturday morning to a white landscape, I suspect, across the viewing area. It's not going to be a lot, but I could see where there's an inch in some spots, coating in other places. Best chance of seeing a couple or a few inches will be up here across southwest New York in the northern tier of PA. But Saturday morning, be prepared for a little bit of a wintry landscape in some parts of the region. It'll be cold Saturday as well. We're going to clear out in the afternoon. Let's take a look at Easter Sunday. Again, if you read my blog this morning, the setup is there's a front approaching from the north. It just depends on how much southward progress this makes. The GFS is the farthest south model I've seen, bringing a rain shower chance in for Easter afternoon. Most of the other modeling is a little farther to the north, so we have a low possibility of precipitation for Easter Sunday. Not a real high chance, though, at all at this point. Overall, Easter Sunday will be the better half of the weekend because it will be warmer. 16-day temperatures looking like this. Here's Easter Sunday right here. After a chilly Saturday, we're up to probably 50-ish on Sunday. Nice warm-up middle of next week, and the pattern beyond that, again, I've been touting this for a while, is looking pretty nice, and these numbers, middle of the month, are probably quite a bit too conservative. Middle of the month around tax day, I think there's probably some 70s heading our way. Perhaps even 80. Way too early to speculate on, or to get into real high detail, but a little speculation at this point. A couple weeks from now, true spring will be arriving, I think, in northeast Ohio and western PA. Kind of a long Weather Geeks today. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 6 and 11.